Good morning, I'm Kelsey and welcome to a slow and gentle tea time. So I just really wanted to share some things that had been on my mind as I begin my day today. I had such a long-standing pattern for so many years about how I would live day to day in a rush cycle, like permanently. I would wake up and as soon as I opened my eyes, I would be jumping out of bed at the first alarm, getting stuck into whatever task I felt like I needed to do for that day and trying to tick off things on my to-do list. And although sometimes that can be helpful with getting things done, I realised that was a deeper pattern within me that wasn't actually serving my higher self or what felt truly aligned to me. I had basically linked my worth and my own inner peace, to be honest, with my productivity and what I felt like I could do that day. So if I tick everything off my to-do list, that is the moment that I would let myself relax. Now, that was really difficult for me because when I used to do that, it would get to the evening and I would still not have relaxed all day. And being constantly on that rat race of life, of being on like a hamster wheel, of feeling like I need to go quicker, and only when I get to that point will I slow down and relax. Only when I get to that point can I feel comfortable within myself and exhale. But sometimes, as life does, you don't get everything done on your to-do list, and that would leave me feeling absolutely defeated, and it would make me feel like I had failed in some way, and I could really see this big disconnect in the relationship with myself because I never allowed myself to live in a state of peace and acceptance with myself. And the reason I'm reflecting on that today is because I've just woke up, probably not very long ago, and I'm not sure how zoomed in this video is, but you might be able to tell from my eyes, I am literally exhausted. I've just done 5 12-hour shifts, some of them even longer, to be honest, and I'm feeling really exhausted, and I've only got sort of today and tomorrow as sort of time before I'm back at work again. So when I woke up this morning, I was reflecting on what feels really important to me right now. And what feels really important to me is finding some time to refill my own energy cup, because I can tell that if I was like an internal battery, I would be sitting so far in that red. I have not a lot of energy to give out because I need to pour in because of how busy things have been at work. It's just the nature of the job that I've been doing. So now is time to refill my own cup. And today my intention is to be really slow and mindful as I move through the day. I've got until probably late afternoon until I need to go out and see some friends and some family. But until then, I really want to be intentional with the sort of activities that I'm doing during the day and do things that make me feel good and give back to myself. But that is something that I never used to be able to do, and again, it's all a learning curve. We're always a work in progress. So it's not saying it's perfected, but I did just want to come on and chat a little bit about that. I'm sure there's other people out there as well that have also grew up in a place where their nervous system was very, very active and alert all the time, where it felt like you always had to be aware of everything that's going on around you, and maybe you weren't able to relax. Because I know for me, I was in a place of quite a lot of responsibility from a young age, which meant that I wasn't able to switch off and relax and maybe have fun to the same level as other children my age, because I had things I needed to deal with. And I'm really comfortable in providing a little bit more context on that. So for me, I had one home with my mum at the time. So this is before I'm sort of 8 years old, and there was a lot of domestic violence in that house and a lot of emotional neglect. Now, I needed to make myself as small as possible to avoid any sort of upset, basically. And because things would erratically become quite violent, I needed to be on guard like all the time. I was very, very hyper vigilant. I'm constantly scanning the world around me permanently, and that has become normal for my nervous system at that time. And that was like on one half. The other side of things for me with my dad, who is a truly, truly wonderful dad, I want to put that out there first, but when I was 6 years old, my dad completely lost his vision. So when I was 6, I probably the few years after that, like as I was starting to grow, it would be me and my dad that would go food shopping together. Him as somebody that was not able to see and was completely blind, and me helping to pick all the things that were needed, put them in the basket, like, you know, go through the scanner, like pack them in the bags, and I used to help with other things like medication and putting them all in his dossier boxes and stuff like that. It just meant that from quite a young age, I was aware of these responsibilities, and probably one of the other things that was quite a big thing for me was I would actually physically guide my dad. So he would have his cane, I would hold on to his other little arm, and actually I was that young that I would like lift my hand up to his hand, and we would like walk down the road together, and I would guide him. You know, I'm not sure how many 6-year-olds are perfect at that sort of thing. There were a few mishaps at times, but what was great underlying all that is that we did create such an amazing bond. So back to my original point, I grew up with a lot of responsibility, and I know that there are other people that have probably grown up like that as well, in different circumstances, but the same sort of thing, where your body actually learns almost not to switch off. It needs to be constantly doing things to feel sort of safe. And I think as we become adults, we have that permission and like responsibility within ourselves to change that. Like, we are completely capable of that. And now what I'm learning to do, and it's again ongoing process, but I don't generally put a lot more emphasis on it, is slowing down and really like tuning in to see like, how do I feel for the day ahead, and what do I really want and need for the day ahead, rather than just focusing on to-do lists. Because, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going to have a never-ending to-do list. There are always things that are going to need to be done and dealt with. But sometimes prioritising yourself is first, and the rest can wait. I also want to say that no matter what you've been through, or what anyone has been through, you can completely adjust the way that you feel within yourself, and you can build that inner relationship with yourself that maybe you've never had, because I know that I certainly never had that, and that really did impact how I felt. So the reason why I'm even saying all of this is because when I lived on that rat race of life and was just go, 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 I felt so empty and miserable and low, and I used to think, is this all that there is in life? Because if so, I'm not finding this appeal. Like, I'm not getting any joy when you constantly run through every single thing you have to do so quickly, just trying to get to the end. You're not letting the joy come through. So we can absolutely make space for that joy. I encourage it. I'm singing it from the rooftops. I'm like lounging this morning, and that probably sounds like such an insignificant thing to people that have never had any problems with relaxing. Like, for example, my boyfriend would have no problems if he's not at work chilling out for the day. He doesn't need to give himself permission. He's already secure and he's good enough in himself that he doesn't need to do that. Whereas for me, who's grown up with a completely opposite pattern, it's like learning that and telling my body that that is safe, and you can also do that if you're in the circumstance where you can relate to what I'm saying. Your worth is not linked to your productivity. This is another thing. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. That doesn't make you more or less worthy, because our worth is already within us. It's already there. It's already unlimited and, what's that word? Unconditional. It's unconditional. I also love reflecting on the fact that since I've kind of loosened my grip on what a day needs to look like, I end up having so many spontaneous situations come up because I'm more willing to go with the flow. So when I used to have my to-do lists and be like, I need to do this for the day, this for the day, this for the day, like everything in the world needed to be done, I was so rigid on that nothing else could come in. So if someone would say like, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? I'd be like, I'm busy. Like, I've not got that. I wasn't able to do it. Whereas now, so many opportunities come up. Like maybe a friend will say, oh, I'm actually free at this time. Like, do you want to go for a coffee? Or maybe we've already met up and that's something I was planning to do, but then I was thinking I need to go and do XYZ afterwards. Maybe we create another plan and we do something else. Or I'm more willing to go with the flow. And I think going with the flow is amazing because there's so much joy and fun experiences that can come from that. And for me, fun, freedom, joy is something that I am actively working towards and embracing having that in my life, compared to the old way of being that I'd learned, or like rigidity and like so tight and unwilling to compromise. And I did that I'm giving myself love from the way that I used to be, because like I'm giving myself that grace because that's what I thought was keeping me safe, and it was just very, very tight. And I'm done with that. I'm completely done with that. To the point where I didn't even plan what I was going to say during today's tea time. I just thought I want to share that I'm willing to allow that freedom in and that joy. And if you're able to relate to anything that I have said during today's tea time, I would love for you to give yourself permission to do maybe even just one thing for yourself that makes you feel good, that maybe wasn't originally part of the plan. To have a level of open-heartedness and open-mindedness as you do that, to see what may unfold. Also, today's mug, I have got fizz from the Tweenies. And that is just like a little inside personal joke. But I used to also have pink hair, so most of the time I'm wearing pink. So this is she's my little vibe. I've still got plenty of time this morning for me and refilling my energy. So as I finish my tea, what I'm going to do next is probably spend some time meditating, to like listen to that inner voice within me that wants to come through to let me know what my soul desires today, like what I truly need. Because when I slow down and listen to that answer, that's what increases my energy battery the most. Like, it's just taking that little bit of time. And I think the reason I love that is because when I listen to that and when I honour that, I'm creating a deeper sense of self-love and self-connection. And I think that's really important, especially if you've never had it before. And if you've never struggled with that and you think that sounds ridiculous, congratulations that you've never been in that circumstance and you've never struggled with self-love or that self-connection. Like, I'm so happy for you if you've not needed to experience that. However, just trying to find ways to rebuild from the bottom as someone that's never had that self-connection, I am definitely gonna tune inwards and just see what I want to do. And I suspect it will be something like reading my book or listening to an audiobook, or I'm not even sure yet, we'll see. But they are things that I probably would shrug off all that time ago, to be honest with you, because it's not productive. Like, if I wasn't getting something out of it or moving forward with something in some way, it wasn't good enough for me. And I feel grateful, like I feel a really big sense of gratitude to give myself that permission to do whatever I want. I'm taking it easy, so I hope you have the best day ever, and let me know if there's anything that you're doing today for yourself that feels good. That's my thoughts for this morning. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are, and give yourself permission to completely let go and go with the flow when you know that you need to, and recover your energy. Lots of love, bye! Also, here's a little close up on my mug.